Hey, I'm Nicole, and this is Maxi, and welcome to the new series that I'm introducing to YouTube called Outfit Planning Diaries, where I talk about my plans to make and style an outfit to wear to an upcoming event. In this week's episode, we're going to be talking about my plans to make an outfit to wear to a music festival that I'm going to with my friend Anna at the end of this month. But first, quick backstory. I describe my friend Anna as my fashion muse and my fashion bestie. I absolutely love her style. Her wardrobe is so colourful, so fun, and so frou. I absolutely love it. We first connected on Instagram a few years ago through a mutual Instagram friend, and I immediately followed her account. 2 years ago, I got invited to a small music festival called the Cambridge Club Fest, and as part of the invitation, I was able to bring a +1. I got super excited about this opportunity because it would have been the first time that I was going to a music festival since Glastonbury 2005, which was 19 years before. And back then, in my late 20s, although I was kind of into fashion, I didn't really have the very exuberant fashion sense that I do now. So this Cambridge Club Fest, for me, presented an opportunity to just really go to town on the festival outfits. And I was so looking forward to planning and making a whole set of festival looks for that weekend. In thinking about who I wanted to bring to the festival with me, I really wanted somebody who would be able to match the fashion energy that I wanted to bring. And the first person I thought of was Anna. Bear in mind that at this point, we hadn't actually met in real life yet. We were connected on Instagram where we had little DM chats and so on, but we hadn't actually met in real life. But I just knew we'd get on and I just knew we'd have the best time. So I sent her a little voice note over DM on Instagram and just said, absolutely no pressure, but I got invited to this event. I thought you'd be perfect for it. And I thought I would just see if you fancy coming with me. She said yes, and we were off. The outfit planning was an official go. As part of our pre-event outfit planning, we got together on a little video call and we just did a bit of show me what you got, I'll show you what I've got. We were thinking that we would create some twinning looks. Not so much identical twinning, more like fraternal twinning. We just thought that it'd be quite cute to do some looks that were kind of cohesive with each other. Because it was a small festival and because we had the camper van, we were able to just leave the site during the day, do a quick outfit change, and then head back into the festival. It was a 2-day festival. We arrived at the festival on Friday, but we didn't actually manage to get onto the site until very, very late because we were just so busy chatting in the camper van. And by the time we got into the site, the evening was pretty much wrapping up. But we had the full day of the festival on the Saturday. We had 4 outfit changes, which were all absolutely epic. And honestly, it was one of the highlights of my entire year. Because we had so much fun at that festival, we thought, you know what, we need to make this a tradition. So the following year, we decided to book ourselves another festival. This time, it was a day festival. It was a 1-day festival called Boogie Town. I'd seen adverts for it on Instagram and thought it looked quite fun, so we booked the tickets. And we did make a bit of a weekend of it because Anna was in London for that weekend. I met her up in central London because we were going to a PR event together. And then I was her +1 in the evening at Paradise Under the Stars, which was a Havana-themed evening. And then the next day, the Saturday, we spent together at Boogie Town. It just so happened that on the day of Boogie Town, it was one of the hottest days of the year. The temperature was going to be over 30 degrees Celsius, which for the UK is very, very hot. And our looks for that day really only came together properly in the morning. Anna obviously brought a little suitcase of clothes with her, and her little capsule suitcase, in addition to my wardrobe here, we managed to pull this look together, which was one of our all-time favorite twinning looks. So in keeping up with our little annual festival tradition, this year we are doing another day festival, which is in Margate, which is a seaside town on the east coast of England. The venue is a very old retro amusement park. So in my head, I'm thinking very Coachella vibes. When you see photos of people at Coachella, you see this Ferris wheel in the background sort of thing. It's a very classic Coachella shot. So I've just got Coachella vibes in my head for this particular festival. Although we have got a hotel booked near the festival the night of the festival. For this festival, we can't leave and re-enter, so we're not going to be able to just pop back to the hotel and do quick outfit changes, which is really unfortunate because I think we would have really gone to town and done a few different looks. So we are just going to have to settle on one look for the entire day. I also suspect that unlike the Cambridge Club Fest, the crowd at this particular festival I think might be skewed slightly towards the younger age. When I say younger, I mean probably like 20s and 30s, whereas Anna and I are both in our mid to late 40s. Not that that's a big deal, and I'm sure there will still be a mix of ages, but I also suspect that it's not the type of festival where people really go to town on the dressing up, like other festivals which last a few days where people really go to town on the festival looks. I'm not sure that this one is particularly going to be that sort of vibe. I think girls will be dressed up, but maybe more of a day out dressed up rather than a full-on festival dressed up. In my head, I'm thinking a look that does have a distinct festival vibe, but isn't too frou-frou and too over the top. I have been taking to Pinterest and I've been looking at a few inspiration images. I've got 3 potential routes to go down for this look. So in this video, I will share with you some Pinterest images that have inspired each of those looks, and we will talk through how I could make a look like that using what I already have in my wardrobe or what I might be able to acquire at very low cost. So are you ready? Let's get into some outfit planning for my day festival look. Route 1 is based on this image that I found on Pinterest. The second I saw this, it stopped me in my tracks. This look is such a vibe. I love the grungy rock tee, loving the chain embellishment detail on the sleeve, all the accessories, the hat, the sunnies, layers of jewelry, and I love the fact that the jewelry is gold. Often when I see festival looks that are a bit more grungy, that have those kind of piled on layers of jewelry, they tend to be lots of silver, which is meant to suit my skin tone more, but most of my jewelry collection is gold. So I was so happy to see a look styled with piles and piles of gold jewelry and it not looking too dressy or too gaudy. I think the tone of it is pitched perfectly. The denim shorts I wouldn't particularly go for. I'm not really a denim wearer. I would probably go for something more like a sequin short or something like that. But I also love the beaded, feathered boho belt. I just think the mix of rock chic grunge with that sort of boho vibe is just the perfect sweet spot in between. For me, pulling a look like this together would actually not be that hard. I've already got a wide brimmed black hat, which actually Anna got me into the first time we went to a festival together. I've got loads of those kind of very thick rimmed colored sunnies. I have loads of gold jewelry. The t-shirt would need a modification. There's one white t-shirt that was my daughter's that would have been perfect to customize into this type of look. Unfortunately, I had already customized it to wear to a friend's festival birthday party a couple of years ago. I shredded the bottom and added beading and it looked quite cool, but unfortunately I now can't customize it yet again and make this look because it won't, I think, look quite the same. However, I have seen that exact same t-shirt selling on Vinted for £2 or £3, so if push comes to shove, I could get another one of those t-shirts and customize it in that way. The chain trim I would need to source, I have actually used a very similar chain fringing on at least one garment that I've made. A white kaftan dress that I made a few years ago. I did use a very similar gold fringing, actually, and on another white kaftan that I made that I wore to the Cambridge Club Fest a couple of years ago. So I can source that trim fairly easily. It's not that hard to get. It won't be the same one as on the photo though. The one on the photo has this double-ended black edging with the gold chain looping around like this, which I love. And I have scoured the internet. I've not found it. So I'd either have to recreate that exact trim myself using 2 bits of black braiding and then getting some gold ball chain and just weaving it in and out myself, or I would improvise by just getting the same just chain dangle that I had last time. It'll look more like a fringe rather than a looped double-ended trim, but that would be a close enough alternative, I think. If I were to go down that route, instead of the denim shorts as she's wearing in this picture, I would probably make myself a pair of sequin shorts or something like that. I do believe in a little bit of sparkle and or a little bit of texture when it comes to festival looks. I have this silver sequin dress that I bought in someone's wardrobe sale. This is probably going back 3 or 4 years. I absolutely love the sequins on this dress. They're not your typical round sequins. They're these sort of very rectangular, almost like tiled sequins. They just look a lot more elevated than your regular round sequin. I've been wanting to make a pair of sequin shorts from this dress for the longest time. So I could resurrect that project and do that for this particular look. So we would have customized rock-inspired t-shirt with the chain fringing, silver sequin shorts, may or may not make myself a sort of boho style belt like that to go with it. Maybe a lot more of an understated version. Maybe I will make myself almost like a little bum bag, but embellish it kind of boho style so it looks a bit like a belt, but not that extreme. Footwear, I think just because I've got Coachella in my mind, and cowboy boots are a real signature of Coachella looks that are like this, my mind defaulted to that. But I don't know, I'm a bit funny with boots. I'm not massively a boot wearer. As an alternative with this look, I might just wear a pair of flat gladiator sandals. I've got a really cute pair of silver gladiator sandals, and I could just pile on some ankle jewelry, very much like this other photo on Pinterest, so that it kind of looks a bit like a boot from afar, but really it's made up of sandal and jewelry. So that's probably the route I would go to interpret this look. for myself. So that is the first potential route. Route 2 would be based on a look like this, which I also found on Pinterest. I absolutely love the contrast between the slightly kind of rock-inspired tee potentially, but with this really glittery, floaty, sheer trouser. I love a sheer garment. I went through a stage last year of being sly obsessed with sheer garments, and I have got a few sheer garments in my wardrobe. I actually have, it's a skirt at the moment, but I think it would actually look better as a trouser. I had refashioned from a very plain black chiffon shirt dress, a cropped shirt and a separate skirt, which I ended up putting these wavy fringe trim along the bottom. So that is something I could potentially refashion as a phase 2 and turn that skirt into a trouser for this look. For the top, I was thinking I have got this tiger sweatshirt in a navy shimmer material that I made years ago. It was one of my signature garments at the time, actually. I became quite famous for it. At that time though, I was into slightly more close-fitting sweatshirts. I used to make my sweatshirts so they were a little bit cropped, a little bit close-fitting, and the sleeves a little bit short, like more of a bracelet length rather than a full length. Whereas now I feel like I've kind of swung a bit more in favor of oversized. When it comes to sweatshirts, I quite like them a bit more slouchy, a bit fuller length, and so I haven't really worn that tiger sweatshirt for ages. Every time I put it on, I just feel like it's a little bit too snug and a little bit too tight. So I've been meaning to refashion it because I love the tiger, I love the fabric. And actually what I've been meaning to refashion it into is a muscle vest. So if I were to interpret this look for the festival, what I would do is take that tiger sweatshirt that I have, I would chop the sleeves off and create a really low armhole so that it's kind of like a muscle tee, but with a low armhole. I have actually also got some undergarments that I made with that same navy shimmer fabric to wear under a dress that I had refashioned last year. So I could refashion the tiger sweatshirt into a muscle vest, pair it with the matching undergarments. I could refashion that skirt into a trouser. I have to see though, because I don't know if I've got enough width in it to get a whole crotch curve and everything. I don't know if, practically speaking, I can get a trouser from it. If not, then I could easily source a sheer black trouser on Vinted, because actually it would be nice to have one that's a little bit glittery, I think. I am seeing a bit of sparkle. Like when I've looked at other images from Coachella style festivals where there are looks where the girls are wearing sheer black garments, they always have a little bit of shimmer, like a little bit of sparkle, and I love that. So I might end up just sourcing a black sheer trouser on Vinted that has a little bit of glitter, a little bit of sparkle. I just think that look would be really cool. The way I would accessorize that look is black hat again, statement sunny, maybe an embellished sunny. I've got a couple of pairs of crystal embellished sunnies, which I think would look amazing with that look. I have got a pair of black gold studded ankle boots, which I think would go with that look. So that's the fallback option I would have for footwear if I were to go down this particular route. I don't know if that I'd go to town on layering neckwear for that particular look because we've got the tiger motif and everything going on, but I would certainly pile on the arm candy. One of the things I really want to do for this festival, which I did for Boogie Town actually, is put some gold tattoos as well. So in the first Pinterest image, you can see that she's got gold arm cuffs and all that, which I absolutely love the look of. I don't know that I've got the arms for that kind of arm cuff. So I would probably replicate that look, but with gold tattoos. I would go with a few really sort of boho hippie gold tattoos on my arms, loads of arm jewelry, maybe playing around with some ear candy. I've got 3 piercings in each ear, so we could just play around with some ear threads and make it really fun. And I think actually what would look great with this particular look is also just having little braids with feathers clipped into my hair. I think that would just add a tiny bit of a boho edge to what is otherwise a bit more of that classic rock chick lean that the Coachella look has. I'm feeling quite excited about that look actually, and it would allow me to finally do the refashion project on the tiger sweatshirt because I've been meaning to do that for ages. It'd be nice to have an excuse to actually resurrect that. Also, I like the fact that it's not too fussy. I think the only slight downside is that it's not particularly colourful. It's cool and laid back, but it's not particularly eye-catching. So I think I'd have to add a little pop of colour somewhere, maybe a bit of neon in the sunglasses or neon in the shoes or something. Like it just needs a little element extra to just help it pop and not just look all dark and flat. The third route that I'm thinking of exploring is based on 2 things actually. This Pinterest image, which I found when I was looking for inspiration images for the Circus Romance collection that I was doing last year. The Harlequin diamond print on those sequins, the clown core aspect of it. I wouldn't necessarily clone it, but as a vibe, I dig this so much. The second thing that would feed into this look is when Anna and I went to the Cambridge Club Fest 2 years ago, we came across a stall with the most amazing collection of festival garments. Anna and I were just foaming at the mouth. It was like stumbling into a huge dressing up box in the middle of this festival. I ended up buying this rainbow tulle jacket, which is one of the most prized garments in my entire wardrobe. I absolutely love it. Anna bought, amongst other things, this most incredible Harlequin print cape. It was stunning. This cape has honestly been living rent-free in my mind ever since she bought it. And ever since then, I've been wanting to make myself a very similar cape to that. I happen to have the perfect fabric to execute a cape like that. For the past few years now, I have done a few collaborations with a project called Sustenta Carnaval, which is run by an amazing woman called Mariana. She's Brazilian, and she started this project called Sustenta Carnaval, where every year she goes to Rio Carnival and she almost single-handedly rescues metric tons of single-wear costumes that get discarded in the Sambadrome in Rio at the end of Carnival. She warehouses all the costumes and then she finds ways to put them back into circulation, either through repurposing the costumes in the fashion industry or providing them for theatre or workshops or whatever. Because she's based in London, and again by pure coincidence, it turned out that at the time that we connected, she lived only 5 minutes away from me. So I met her and took away a whole bunch of Rio Carnival costumes from her to repurpose and transform into some new pieces. But there were two particular costumes, which were big trousers, which I have now in my stash, which also have that Harlequin diamond print. And I have saved those trousers specifically to make myself a cape like Anna's. I don't know that she's ever worn this cape out. I know she keeps telling me I need an occasion to wear it. So I'm also thinking for this festival, do we do a look around these capes? The only thing is, what do we wear with the capes? Anna does have a green metallic jumpsuit, which she actually wore with the cape when we were at the Cambridge Club Fest, but she has worn that jumpsuit to death. I think she's actually bored of wearing that to festivals, so I'm not sure that she'd be up for wearing that jumpsuit yet again to this festival. So I think we'd have to come up with something new, something different, that would look good with both our individual capes, if that makes sense. I think the only thing with this particular route is that I've not quite got a firm handle on what we would wear the capes with. And that's it. Those are the 3 routes that I am contemplating, and that's as far as I've got with my outfit planning so far. I have to say that so far, I think the front runner for me might be route 2, the tiger top with a sheer black trouser. It doesn't have to be a sheer black trouser, to be honest. I mean, it could still pair with a silver sequin short, possibly. Or I could make a pair of textured black shorts, like a pair of cute little ostrich feather black shorts or something. I don't know, we'll see. But that look for me feels like the most achievable based on what I already have to hand. And I think it would look quite cool. So that for me is where I'm leaning at the moment. But it is still all very much up in the air. Who knows what's going to happen between now and then? And if you know me, you know that almost anything will happen. So watch this space. Stay tuned for part 2 of this edition of my outfit planning diaries later on in the month to see which route I had settled on and how we are going to execute the entire outfit. But in the meantime, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.